All right, guys. So that's it for, the practices this week. Guys are going to be off for the next 3 days. We'll be back in here on Monday, get a little bit of bonus work on Carolina. So that's where we're at.
You didn't see Jordan Mims out there?
Yeah, it was just part of roster management stuff, with a couple of moves. So, but he's on the team, still with us. He'll be here on Monday.
Does that mean he makes a practice squad?
No, he's on the roster. Yeah.
Yeah, you added somebody on defensive tackle. Is there another spot or two that you'd like to maybe add a little more depth at?
Listen, I feel pretty good about where we're at on the roster. So I don't know that there's a particular spot where, where we're necessarily looking that, oh man, we got to do something here. And yet, over the course of the first part of the season, there's a lot of roster moves that still take place. So we're certainly going to be keeping an eye on who becomes available, and if somebody becomes available for whatever reason, and we feel like we can add somebody that helps our team, we'll do that. I mean, and that's not, look, that's that way every year. There's always things that are happening, and you're always looking for ways that you can maybe improve the roster. But the reality is that when you get to this point, there's not a lot of options that become available. There's a few moves that kind of take place, but for the most part, this is who we're going to battle with.
Tyrann Mathieu, even though the other safety spot has been a competition throughout camp, how much does he allow you to? How much does he kind of ease concerns at that general position when you have a guy like that?
Well, let me answer it like this. Okay, I think Tyrann Mathieu's been an incredible player in our league, an incredible player for us. All players have, strengths and weaknesses and all those things. But here's what this guy does for me and for us is I know exactly what I'm getting with Tyrann Mathieu. Every time he walks in the building, every time he walks onto the practice field, every time he walks onto the game field, I know exactly what I'm getting. He's as much of a consistent player as I've seen. And so I think anytime you have that type of consistency and the coach knows exactly what he's getting, then I think it makes it so much easier to game plan and put guys in position to do the things that they do really well and try to minimize, when you're putting them in a disadvantageous position. So he is the consummate professional, and man, as a coach, you appreciate that. Go ahead. You guys are ready to get out for a few days? Nobody wants to ask a question. I like that.
Can you clarify more on the Jordan Mims thing? I'm confused. Did you release him?
Well, as you go through a trade and a claim, and there's got to be some roster flexibility and roster moves potentially having to be made. So,
okay, so he got released.
He has not been released. He's on the roster.
Okay.
There's timing issues that go along with all these things in terms of when the report has to happen, when you turn in different things. So we didn't have to make any sort of roster move with him.
The returner you playing for Minnesota, he wasn't here. Is he travel issue?
He'll be waived with the failed physical designation.
Yeah.
I don't know when that comes out. So
Proceed. How have you seen him from last year this time to right now?
much improved. I think he's much stronger in his lower body. He's more stout, and so I think I've seen an improved run player. From a pass rush standpoint, I think he's kind of refining some of his techniques. So I see an improved player, and in particular in the run game.
Just because we were talking about Tyrann, I was wondering something I thought you might be able to shed light on, and this is a little bit from the perspective of having covered him at LSU. he used to have a propensity to cause a lot of mayhem in offensive backfields just through instincts, decision-making, whatever it was. And since he got to the NFL, I haven't seen that as much from him. And I asked him about it, he wasn't sure why. I don't know if you have any thoughts on it.
Yeah, look, I don't know. Look, I think he makes a lot of plays for us. He's always getting us in the right spots, in the right positions, and in the right coverages. He does his job. You know, I don't know. It depends on what you're asking him to do. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't say that we kind of run him into the backfield a lot, you know, which kind of makes that a little bit more difficult to do. Yeah, so we don't really ask him to do that very often. So that's probably the reason why you don't see it, you know, nearly as much. And I couldn't tell you. I mean, I couldn't go back and say what he was doing like early on in his career or whatever. But I see him still making a ton of the same plays that I saw him make when he was at LSU. So I guess I don't really have that answer either. All good? All right, guys, thanks.